No. He likes to think he does. I don't know whether other people would objectively describe it that way, but you know, he. Yeah, no, I think it goes the other direction. I think it's the mother's father, from what I understand. But we have a wonderful geneticist in our congregation, so I'll ask her tomorrow. Guys, how are you? That was wonderful. Really, really, really wonderful. No, no. Yeah, so nice. I thought it was like only one part where that thing that we use stopped working in the middle, and I very quickly ran and replaced with a different camera. So you'll see it looks a little different, a couple minutes in. But yeah, no. And you said, and everybody told us how much they enjoyed it. It was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, it's kind of part of our experience.
Sorry I missed your presentation. I had to run a meeting and have to answer. I was volunteering at Bay Street there. What did you see at Bay Street?
Deceived.
Oh, I heard it's terrible.
I thought it was the worst show. I could hardly hear the guy speak with all
Somebody said to me, "You will not go."
English accent.
Yeah.
But you usually volunteer.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't because I'm
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so I really haven't. So I didn't see it. But somebody I know just went to this Joy Beanock.
That was supposed to be good.
Yeah.
So she's tomorrow afternoon at 2 and the play is at, I think Sunday's the last day of the play. It was I thought it was fun. I'm not a really good critique, but I found it boring.
Hey, Emmett.
Check his office. Go into his office and see if he's in the office.
Hey, buddy.
Is Shirley here? Did you see Shirley?
Yes.
She's here?
Yeah, I think she's downstairs.
She was paying the ice. You didn't have ice cream?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Was it good?
Oh, Mr. Soft.
What position?
Mr. Softy.
What?
What's to celebrate?
It was
Celebrate the
the
kids.
kids. So it was a service for the kids downstairs and they had pizza. And ice cream.
We should cut.
We imbibed. I went like, oh, there's no Omega had ice
I
cream.
think you got the lighting or the sun in your eyes. See, this is different. This one. And also I'm close to your husband.
Yes, because your tat's coming up. August 8th.
I do too, but do you know that the ice cream parlor down on the wharf has vegan gluten-free ice cream?
Vegan ice cream.
Good to know. It was delicious. It was so good.
Vegan ice cream.
But it probably has.
I'm sure it's got all protein.
I think, but I'd rather be eating a have an egg, because I could already feel
Your time.
my
Your time.
phlegm already from what I ate.
A girl from California.
Are you calmer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine.
This will be her first night.
So what you're telling me is that you were living alone.
And it's at HUC
Not really.
night. And
She's so used to
so I said, I'll be the only.
So, God forbid anything happens to me.
President,
Yeah, you're right, they did have.
The Jewish
somebody
Center was having
speaking.
some people come and speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, how are you? I'm good. Hello there, how are you?
Dan, what's the new,
What did you
campus
bring?
name?
Emma.
Emma.
Her last name's Aronson, and her father is and has been the rabbi at, I think it's Temple Judea in Tarzana, Los Angeles for
I know she's.
like
been
10 or
having-
yeah. But she's a rabbi's kid, so she is
Ah,
she has a lot of experience in just being in that world, and she's a very lovely person. Will vouches for her as well, so that's always a great thing.
yeah, she's coming on Alan's Yard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. That's right. I think that's actually her first weekend. I think with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
who's this, Emma?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
You're gonna love her.
Yeah. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, though, we can. Yeah. Okay.
Whatever, it's
Yeah.
fine, as long as you're comfortable.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I would do it, so
18 pictures.
it's also not Shabbat.
It is also.
There is.
And you know, shame food and all that good stuff. It's all good. Yeah. All right. This.
She writes her parents.
Fortunately, it's it's on a definitely. Did you have a big order? Sunday?
She's fearless.
No, there were one. I did that in Costa Rica.
No.
Recently in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's what I thought. I was Costa Rica. Yeah, it was so much fun. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was so sorry.
Good to be back.
I heard you the first time.
Not the last one?
Yeah,
How was
I didn't
Shabbat,
have
the
that
last
meeting. We had,
Yeah, Alaska had an earthquake.
we have a problem
Yeah.
in.
They had an earthquake. They had an earthquake. As soon as she left, they had an earthquake. They all, Mars was gone, now we're gonna have an earthquake.
Because it was unsafe.
And something happened at
to close
Vancouver
for
too,
2
at the
years.
airport.
Oh, really?
There was a system,
I missed all this news.
there was a,
All right, it's been
it was a
closed
threat
for
of a
3 years.
tsunami.
A lot of people live
I know.
in that direction.
That part I knew.
Yeah.
And then
There was an earthquake in Alaska, 7.2
ambulance.
on the meter.
Fire.
I was there.
It's still pretty far away.
It is, no, they probably felt it over there though.
Three big entities own it, so they're, and they claim it's gonna be $25 million.
I had paid
Someone
$200.
send me a card.
I carry it.
4 cars. Okay. All dressed. Everything.
What?
A bouquet of ham pie. Anything.
When I was in camp, I wrote a postcard almost every single day.
Oh, we had to.
I wrote every day I wrote a postcard. I was there 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 2 weeks. And my mom made a book for me and she put all the postcards on the stage.
I call him techno rabbi.
You ready? 97 Cliff
Oh,
Drive.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, so when you go into Bay Park, it's the first right, all the way down.
Thanks, thank you.
On Monday night, we had half of
No,
the
Bay
town
Point is on the road that goes from
in a
Clear
plane,
Road
and I had
to
our
Long
assemblyman,
Beach Road.
Scavone.
Where I teach yoga. Sunday mornings, 8 a.m.
Say it again, say it again.
Every Sunday morning.
Assembly for the first day.
97 Cliff Drive.
Wait, what's this?
Big district, big
And we
district,
want,
but he
why
had
don't you
these
take my
things.
telephone number too?
So we
So
got
you
it
can tell that they're
done.
coming. 631
steps, even if you're dressed.
I'm leaving.
So you're welcome, you're welcome. Zoom, he does it on several. When I was in the hospital, in Rehab, I watched services on YouTube. You probably are, like. Did you see Joy Behar? Did you see her? Joy Behar? You didn't see her? Oh, she's got a new one.
Feeling very low. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not. I really, really wanted to, but because of the Yiddish classes, the time just doesn't. Yeah. The next year, probably. If I'm around and the timing works. Are you going?
We're performing Monday night.
Oh, fun. So you'll see a bunch of like the faculty of the college there, because they're doing a lot of the shiurim. Yeah, there's like Jill Abramson's there, Josh Brights who's going to be there, Benji Evangelo's going to be there. So if you have a chance to take one of the shiurim, you should. I highly, highly recommend taking as many.
Generally, I just show up for art performance, but I really need to stay longer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
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 My friends who go to the
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm happy to get there for even a little bit.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's a very neat thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what a tonal shift.
I know. That like hour in between really slipped. It's really slipped away.
Yeah, it does.
It went so fast.
Yeah, it's tricky in that way because you're like you're
You're not free.
not free, not free. Nor are you free to desist.
That's right.
Ew. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. Will and I were just sort of noting the remarkable tonal shift that takes place between what just happened downstairs and upstairs. But, big thank you to everybody who created this wonderful opportunity to celebrate our children, and they had a wonderful time. And everybody is hopped up on sugar, including your rabbi. So, we're going to see how this goes. But we're very happy to have our student cantor Will with us, who led a beautiful service downstairs. And I know you guys just sat down and got very comfortable, but we're going to invite up two very important women in my life, my mother and my dear wife, and mother of my children, our children, Emmett and Eva. So Lou and Safti, if you would join us up here on the bima, that would be really wonderful. And we're going to turn to page 120 as we light our two sets of Shabbat candles. Again, those for us here in Sag Harbor and those for the hostages who we hope will be able to light on their own, we hope, very, very soon. Do you guys want me to help with the actual lighting piece? So before we get started with Kabbalat Shabbat, let's just take a moment to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. You can turn to the people you came with. Even better, if you don't recognize the people around you, turn around, say hello, wish each other Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourselves. Don't be embarrassed.
Shabbat Shalom. Very nice.
Pleasure. So, precious few Shabbatot left with Will.
This is the penultimate
This is
one.
the penultimate one.
Yeah.
We only have one more left after this.
Yeah.
And as a very special treat, maybe don't know, but our sermon tonight is going to be delivered by Will. So we're going to give a wonderful chance to hear from you. I'm looking forward to it very much. Before we get to that, we're going to hear his beautiful voice, and we'll join together on page 130 as we begin Kabbalat Shabbat together at the very top of the page.
Lechu neranin al Adonai naria letzur ishenu. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria letzor ishenu nekadma fanav betodah. Naria letzor ishenu bezmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai.
We're now on page 131.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, safru vagoyim kevodo mechol ha'amim nifleotav ki gadol Adonai umhulal meod norahu al kol Elohim ilai shiru l'Adonai shir chadash shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo basru miyom leyom yeshuato.
We're now on the bottom of page 132.
Or zaru ala tzadik uleishrei lev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik uleishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim ba'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim ba'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodsho.
We'll turn now to page 134 at the very top of the page.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, b'chatzotzrot vekol shofar, hariv lifnei hamelech Adonai, yiram hayam umlo, tevel veyoshvevar. Nimcha uchaf yachad harim yiranenu lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel betzedek ve'amim b'mesharim yiram hayam umlo.
ויושביה נהרות עמך וכף יחד הרים ירננו. We're now on page 135, the last Hebrew paragraph in the middle of the page. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. Turn now to page 136, beginning at the very top of the page. מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני בני אלים, אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. קול אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על מים רבים, אדוני על מים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רמים, כמו בן רמים. קול אדוני חוצב להבות אש, קול אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, קול אדוני יחולל איילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. We'll turn now to page 138 for Lecha Dodi, and we'll do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraphs, and for the final one, we'll rise and face the doors we walked through just a few moments ago. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Yadonai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelai, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Yadonai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelai, Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Yadonai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelai, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Yadonai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelai, likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha'berach
ברכה, מראש מקדם, נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, ידלי, דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה, ידלי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלי, 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. Love that melody.
It's great.
It's great. I'll turn to page 140 as we look to the middle of the page, just where the Hebrew indents Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik Katamar yifrach, kerez bavanon iske, shetulim bevet Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva, deshenim verananim iyu lehagid, ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo.
We'll rise in body or spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144, and we'll remain standing for the Baruch Hu on the next page. Yitkadal vehitkadash shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
ve'al mahad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'cha yechonu v'yomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, bagala bagala u'bizman kariv ve'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam le'almei almaya yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, Vitbar vitramam vitnase, vitadar vitale vitala, shemei dekucha brichu, leila min kol birchatam veshirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imeru. Amen. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Please be seated. We'll turn now to page 148 as we read together in English toward the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Havir yom umevi laila, avdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amari v'aravi.
Amen. We'll turn now to page 150 as we read together in English toward the very bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla, ve'vatecha tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad.
Please join us on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom al bavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha u'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam amezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's read together on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158, Michamocha at the very top of the page.
Yada dai 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 yada dai dai dai
Yada dai 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 dai
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar bakodesh norati lo osefele osefele Malchutcha ra'u vanecha בוקע ים לפני משה, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני מרים, זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם לעולם ועד, ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגלום יד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu is on the top of page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoenu lechaim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Baruch atah Adonai ufros. Baruch atah Adonai ufros sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. We'll turn now to Vishamru on the top of page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I'll invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164. From that point on, we'll continue silently. As always, please go at your own pace. When you're finished at the end, if you're still standing, you may be seated.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen, uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen, amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
We'll turn now to page 371 as we offer our Misha Berach this evening. Tonight in our community, we're thinking of Ronnie Lidowitz, Madeline Egelfeld, Sue Wartor, Abigail Blum, Kate Sherwood, Ame and Warren Cass, Rivka Bat Rachel, Lorraine Danis, David Dowling, Sibia Devora, Bat Francis, Shelley Newmark, Diane Axelrod, Gabriella Spicer, David Kyle Klotman, Lorraine Davis, Kim Birnbaum, Deborah Block Kroll, Sylvia Orn, Rachel Bat Ora, Peretz Ben Shlomo, Israel Ben Yitzchak, Jill Fagan, Stan Posner, Marilyn Zaretsky, and Bonnie Mahoney. In addition to those names that I just shared, we'll give an opportunity for those in the room to share the names of your loved ones you might be thinking of this evening. We'll start on this side of the room, in the front to the back, and then this side. And if you have names to share, just please make sure to raise a hand so I don't miss anyone.
Joe Manuel, Jackie Manuel, Donegas, Kimberly Espinoza, Chris Howard, Linda Lanigan, Joanne Howard, Lou Levy, and Daniel Burns.
The Topasky family, Diane Schwartz, Lonnie Kinney, Mario and Rodney, Julie Lipton, Lauren Meredith Berger, Dottie and Kevin Major, Lisa Cotter, Alice Lindbergh, Honey, Dacian Berger, Kathy Gray, Susan Barron, and Mary King.
Elizabeth Santa, Charlie Swag, Marilyn Goldstein, Bob Rendell, Nikki Harris.
Hachazan Benjamin Zev ben Rivka Chaya.
Of course, we invite those watching at home at the names of their loved ones as well, and we'll join with Will on page 371, just in the middle of the page.
Mishe berach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe berach imotenu, mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
our prayer for Israel in time of war. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, you know that the Jewish people are one nation with one heart, and now that heart is broken. O healer of broken hearts, binder of their wounds, be with our brothers and sisters who've been taken captive and with the families of the victims. Watch over the hostages, break their bonds, and bring them out from darkness to light. Proclaim release to the captives, liberation to the imprisoned. Comfort the families, bring them under the shelter of your wings. Bring complete healing of body and spirit to all of the wounded. Bind up our wounds and grant us healing. Tzur Yisrael, v'goalo, rock and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, the initial manifestation of our redemption. Shield it with your care, spread over it your shelter of peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Grace them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend us. Crown their efforts with victory. Bless the land with peace, its inhabitants with lasting joy. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel. Strengthen and bless the defenders of Israel who stand guard on the land, in the air, and on the sea. May we see the promise of the psalmist realized. You turn my mourning into dancing, my sackcloth into robes of joy. God protect, preserve, and restore peace and well-being to Israel, your people, and together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Will, the bima is yours.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Right now, it is the end of the 22nd day of the Hebrew month of Tammuz. At sundown, it will begin the 23rd. And we are currently in a period of great importance in our Jewish year. We're in a period known in Hebrew as Ben HaMetzarim. You may hear this referred to in English as the 3 weeks. And these 3 weeks are the time that marks the period between the 17th of the month of Tammuz, which was this past Sunday, and the 9th of Av. The 17th of Tammuz is the day that tradition tells us that in the year 70 CE, the Romans breached the walls of Jerusalem before ransacking and destroying the Second Temple 3 weeks later, on the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, the same day that the Babylonians ransacked and destroyed the first temple, Solomon's temple, some 655 years earlier. So now we find ourselves at this period in our year grappling with loss, with destruction, and with mourning. And part of this sacred grappling includes the reading of Megillat Eicha, the Book of Lamentations, which records the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians. And tonight, I'd like to focus on the penultimate verse of this book, which may already be familiar to you, either from our Torah service or from the high holidays, but perhaps you did not know that its origin lies in Lamentations. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva, return us, O God, to you, and we will return. Chadesh Yamenu Kekedem, renew our days as days of old. After spending the first 4 chapters of the Book of Lamentations mourning over what is left of the holy city of Jerusalem, the author leaves us with a cry to God: return us, renew our days, kekedem. And it's this word, in particularly kedem, which jumps off the page to me, which I previously translated this word to mean as days of old, which on its surface it does mean that, but as it often is in Hebrew, translations are not always the easiest thing. For part of the beauty of the Hebrew language is in her shorashim, or in her roots, and we can start to understand some of the nuances and the shades that exist within words when we begin exploring words that share the same root. So I would like to take a few words that find themselves linked to kedem in this manner. Mukdam, which means early. Kadum, ancient. Kadima, forwards. Lehit kadem, to progress. And kidma, advancement. So, kodem kol, first of all, we're finding ourselves pulled in 2 directions, both chronologically and spatially. This shoresh wants to go forwards, but it also wants to go backwards. So I would love to start by going all the way backwards to Parshat Breshit, the very first parsha in our Torah, in which we read, Vayita Adonai Elohim gan ve'eden mikedem, vayasem sham et ha'adam asher yatzar. And God planted a garden in Eden from Kedem, and he placed there Adam, whom he had created. In Breshit Rabbah, which is Midrash on the book of Genesis, our sages explore the meaning of this word kedem and its presence here in God's planting of the garden. Our sages explain that this word means from the east. Just as the sun rises in the east, so too did God plant a garden in Eden from the east. The rabbis go on to elaborate that not only does this word kedem directionally refer to the east, but it also refers temporally to this primordial time before God created the world, which begins to color our verse from Lamentations in a very different light. We begin to understand that this is not only the author of Lamentations asking God to restore the temple, to restore the house of Israel to Jerusalem, but also it is a plea to restore all of humanity into our Edenic communion with the divine. And in order to understand why the loss of the temple was so great to our ancient ancestors, we must understand first why the temple stood in Jerusalem, and specifically on Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount, in the first place. The Talmud, in Tractate Yoma, tells us that the temples, both temples, stood on Mount Moriah so that the Holy of Holies, Kodesh HaKodeshim, could stand and rest on Even Hashtiyah, the foundation stone. The foundation stone is the point at which tradition tells us that God created the world. This is where God created the world. This is the point at which God breathed life into Adam. This is the place from which Adam offered sacrifices to God. This is also the place where an angel stopped Abraham from sacrificing his son Isaac. And this is also the place where Jacob dreamed of a ladder to heaven, upon which angels ascended and descended. And it's here in Jacob's dream of the ladder to heaven from Parshat Vayetze, which we begin to get a visual of how our ancient ancestors understood this spot, this place where the temple stood. For to them, this was not just any other place. This was the axis mundi, the navel of the world, the place where heaven and earth meet. This was the place where the Shekhinah, the presence of God, which dwelt in the Mishkan among the Israelites as they wandered for 40 years in the desert, eventually came to rest here upon Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, where heaven and earth meet. For our ancestors, the destruction of the temple was truly, truly the end of the world as they knew it. Solomon's temple, which Josephus tells us stood for 470 years, 6 months, and 10 days, was gone. And gone along with it was the only way that the Israelites knew how to connect with God. Everything which anchored them had been taken from them, and we find this trauma and this grief manifested in many verses throughout the Tanakh. And one of these places is in Psalm 137, Al Naharot Bavel, by the waters of Babylon, which contains the famous verse, Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yamini. If I forget you, Jerusalem, let me forget my right hand. But the psalm's grief quickly turns to rage, ending in verses that we often choose to ignore. The psalmist writes, Bat Bavel hashtuda ashrei sheyeshalem lach et gmulech shegamat lanu. O daughter of Babylon, you predator, happy is the one who pays you in kind for what you afflicted on us. And while this ancient rage is completely understandable and even, dare I say, logical, given what this generation endured, our historical record tells us that it's not rage and revenge which enables the house of Israel to return to Zion. Approximately 70 years after the destruction of Solomon's temple, the Babylonians are conquered by Cyrus the Great, the king of Persia. And Cyrus, in conquering Babylon, seemingly begins to restore order and peace to the Babylonians, who had become increasingly dissatisfied under the rule of their king Nabonidus. And after the fall of Babylon, in some ways, Babylon continues, albeit under Persian rule. Babylonian culture and learning continues. Cyrus, according both to the historical record and to our book of Ezra, allows people whom the Babylonians had conquered, including the Israelites, to return to their homelands, to restore their religious practices, and to worship their gods in the way that they desire. And with this, the plea at the end of the book of Lamentations is seemingly answered. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, return us, O God, to you, and we will return. And yes, we must acknowledge that it is a conquering empire which enables the house of Israel to return to Jerusalem, but the return to Zion does not see the Babylonians paid in kind. The Babylonians are not made to suffer the same fate as the Israelites, for there is no good in collective punishment against a people who are represented by a ruler who does not have the best interests of their citizens in their hearts. What good would it do to them, what they did to us? Does that chadesh shemenu kekedem, does that renew our days as days of old? Or would paying Babylon in kind simply continue the cycle of violence that began when Cain first killed Abel, a cycle which continues to our very day and age? And so, the Babylonians were not made to suffer, and the Israelites returned to Zion and offered sacrifices to the Lord until the cycle of violence was continued in the year 70 CE by the Romans, who breached the walls of the holy city on the 17th of Tammuz in that year, and 3 weeks later, on the 9th of Av, destroyed the second temple, Herod's temple. And so we find the historical narrative repeating itself, the cycle of violence continues, but still we have our old friend, this word kedem, which beckons us kadima, forwards. Where might we go from there today? The Tanakh offers us some clues. In our book of Psalms, we have a set of 15 psalms called Shirei HaMalot, the Songs of Ascent. And this set of 15 psalms speaks directly to the temple in Jerusalem. And one of the psalms in particular points us forwards. Shir HaMalot B'shuv Adonai et Shivat Zion Hayinu Kechomim. When God restores the fortunes of Zion, we see it as in a dream. These words, and perhaps this melody, which you might recognize from Birkat Hamazon, or Grace After Meals, come to us from Psalm 126, one of these 15 songs of ascent. So what is in this dream that the psalmist has dreamed? We find the answer a few verses later. Shuva Adonai et shivitenu ka'afikim ba'negev. Restore our fortunes, O God, like channels of water in the Negev. And if you've ever been to the Negev, as I have, you surely know that like most deserts on earth, it is very dry, and there is not much water. But the psalmist here, I believe, is specifically referring to a vision of the prophet Ezekiel, wherein he is led by some unnamed divine being, perhaps an angel, which descended from the ladder that Jacob saw. They find water running Kedma, to the east. We find our Shoresh here once again, from under the temple in Jerusalem. So Ezekiel, our prophet, and this angel ford this stream, and the angel tells Ezekiel that this water continues out into the Arava, into the desert, and then it continues beyond that into the sea of foul waters. The angel tells Ezekiel that when the water of this stream reaches the sea of foul waters, the water shall become wholesome. Now, this sea of foul waters, as maybe you are able to guess, within the land of Israel, is none other than the Dead Sea itself, so named in English because, as we know, its high salinity cannot support any life. Yet, the angel insists that when the waters which rush forth from the temple reach the Dead Sea, the fish there will be abundant. Fishermen shall cast their nets at Ein Gedi, and the fish in the Dead Sea will be as plentiful as they are in the Mediterranean. And this prophecy from Ezekiel provides us with one vision of what life could look like one day if God would answer the call to Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem, to renew our days as days of old. A vision which looks to me like Eden restored, paradise come back to earth, with the gate never to be locked again. Now, neither Ezekiel nor the psalmist provide us with the answer of how we get there, back to Zion, back to Eden, only that we will. It's elsewhere in our texts that we find the answer to this question of how. And I was elsewhere when I first discovered it. In the old city of Jerusalem, meters away from the Kotel, from the Temple Mount, in the shadow of the Horva synagogue, the destroyed synagogue, there sits a plaque upon which reads verses from the book of Zechariah, which was written shortly after the historic return to Zion from Babylon. It reads, "There shall yet be elderly men and women in the squares of Jerusalem, each with a staff in their hand." Each with a staff in their hand because of their great age, and the squares of the city shall be crowded with young boys and girls playing in her streets. Though it will seem impossible to the remnant of the people in those days, shall it also be impossible for me, declares the God of hosts. And I am finding myself choked up because I remember so distinctly seeing this plaque for the first time in late October 2023, when I had returned to the old city for the first time after the war had begun on October 7th. And I found myself staring at this sign, unable to move left, unable to move right, captured by Zechariah's vision of this prophetic Jerusalem, while at this same time, in those days, immediately after the war began, I found myself completely understanding the rage that the psalmist provides to our tradition in Psalm 137, the rage and the trauma that our ancestors experienced against their Babylonian captors. And I understood what it meant to have anger because of what had befallen us, because of whom had been taken from us, and rage at those who had committed these acts against us. And I found myself caught by Zechariah's vision, wondering to myself, how? How? For in the Hebrew, it becomes clear that these verses do not specify that the elders of Jerusalem and the young of Jerusalem shall only be Jews. No. Zechariah offers us only one clue into how we come to live in this Jerusalem. V'nikra Yerushalayim ir ha'emet. In those days, Jerusalem shall be called the city of faith. And this prophetic vision flooded my mind of a Jerusalem, perhaps that was no longer quartered. A Jerusalem that was no longer divided by a green line. A Jerusalem that could exist beyond politics, and a Jerusalem that could exist beyond war. And this Jerusalem, Zechariah's Jerusalem, this prophetic Jerusalem of Ir HaEmet, the city of faith, the point at which heaven and earth meet, became clear to me that this is Yerushalayim Habnuya. This is Jerusalem, the rebuilt. For this, to me, is the Jerusalem in which the God that I believe in longs to dwell. There's no third temple necessary. There's no gold that need be smelted into a single menorah, and no sacrifice need be offered on the Temple Mount. No, Zechariah tells us that what God asks of us instead is faith. Faith that peace will one day come, and faith in a Jerusalem that can only be built in partnership with God. Shall it be impossible for me? God asks us. Our historical narrative tells us that the return to Zion was possible not through rage and not through revenge, but is when order is restored to Babylon, and those who wronged us are not paid in kind, that we are able to return. Faith in the impossible is what enables the impossible to happen. Rabbi Harold Kushner, in his book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People, writes, "Faith is not a response to the world as it is. It is an act of will, a choice to see the world as if it made sense, even when it doesn't." And now I know very well, that Zechariah's vision of Jerusalem feels very far off from where we stand today, perhaps farther off than it's felt in a very long time. But I implore us to believe in it anyway, to hope for it anyway, and to pray for it anyway. For the alternative is so much worse. To give in to our rage, or even worse, to be led by it, however logical and justified it may seem to us now, will only lead to continuing the cycle of violence that began when Cain believed that God was not watching. When you walk through the old city of Jerusalem today, you can hear the call of the muezzin from her minarets, the bells of her churches ringing, the nusach of tefillah rising from her synagogues, all at the same time. Now, I believe that this sacred symphony is an echo, but not an echo from the past. This is an echo of a future Jerusalem, a Jerusalem that we will merit only through faith, a Jerusalem where children play together as their grandparents, or perhaps even their great-grandparents, look on. Zechariah's prophecy concludes by imagining this future Jerusalem of faith with words that we will sing in just a moment. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushmo echad. In that day, God will be one, and his name will be one. It's not God that needs to realize that God's self is one. We do. Faith in the one to whom we all call is the only way that we can walk kadima, forward, together. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, return us, O God, to you, and we will return. Chadesh yemenu kekedem, renew our days, not as they once were, but as what they could be. Shabbat Shalom. We turn back to our prayer book on page 586 and rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'glor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 591.
B'nehemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom ha'u, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Ask those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who passed in our community in recent months: Heather Abrams, Stephen Dickman, Harry Fadum, Michael Fagenbaum, Sharon Lee Goldblatt, Barbara Goldfarb, Harry Heller, David Carlin, Morris Kramer, Leonard Lauder, Ann Lieber, Jeanette Meyerowitz, Jeffrey Miller, Phyllis Rowan, Gloria Shapiro, Carol Shapiro, Louise Silberman, Randy Wasserman, and Joel Wintner. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Felicia Abraham, Elizabeth Adler, Ludwig Bergman, Hyman Block, Harry Bryant, Paul Buckman, Seymour Cohen, Benjamin Deinitz, Abraham Finkelstein, Walter Goldhill, Abraham Goodstone, Charlotte Gruen, Sylvia Horowitz, Richard Carl, Lester Cass, Richard Katz, Samuel Kutash, Sean Leibowitz, Martin Lutsky, Tobias Mayer, Jeannie Morris, Helen Nichols, Doris Solomon, Ronald Seth Tempowski, Marjorie Weinberg Berman, Bessie Weisberg, Bernard Zeiler, and Philip Zucker. In addition to those names that I just shared, if anyone is saying Kaddish for anyone we did not mention, you'd like to mention their names?
Trish Knapp, Susan LeBear, Karen Whipple.
Of course, we'll invite our friends watching at home to add the names of their loved ones as well. I'll invite the mourners to join me on page 598, and if it's your custom to rise alongside them, you may do so at this time. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'almad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'yalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. V'oseh shalom b'morav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Okay, please be seated. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Before I get to any other announcements, Yasher Koch.
Thank you.
Okay? Yasher Koch. Truly. Come on. You know, been a rabbi for a few years. I've known a few rabbis in my time. Okay? That was High Holiday and beyond.
No.
No. Okay, I'm going to, give you a video of that so that you share that. No, I'm serious. Like,
Thank you.
you have to share that. You have to share it. Brilliant. Beautiful. And thank you, Will. You could have coasted out of here several times already, right? Several times already. And yet came back and then waited to share this beautiful wisdom, right? We've had the benefit of hearing you teach before and hearing your beautiful singing all these weeks and months, but truly, I hope many people will hear that and many people will resonate to that, and may what you say come true speedily in our days. Yeah. Beautiful, truly. Yasher Koch. So with that, also a lot of gratitude in the air this Shabbat, this whole summer. Again, on behalf of our family of Lou and myself and all the Geffens, we want to thank everybody again for continuing this summer of Geffen love and this wonderful experience for our children just a little bit ago. They clearly are still, I think, having a good time from the sound of it. And, it's just also very sweet to see everybody enjoying the ice cream truck before services. We might have to do that more regularly, I think. But really, truly, thank you for, again, a wonderful event. And to jump ahead a little bit to our next in that series of things, I know it's on my list here. Saturday, August 9th, will be the luncheon celebrating our wonderful Lou Geffen, our Director of Community Engagement. And I want to make sure that everybody knows, I think there may be a misassumption that this is a women's only luncheon or anything like that. Is the furthest thing from it. It's everybody. Everybody is welcome to join us. So please mark your calendars. Saturday, August 9th, following services, we'll have a great chance to celebrate this remarkable person in our community and, of course, remarkable person in my life. So again, August 9th, put it on your calendars, make sure that you join us. Going back in time a little bit, I want to remind everyone that services will begin tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and continuing the simchas that we have in this whole summer, we're going to welcome Asher up for his moment as a bar mitzvah to take his appropriate place here as a teacher of our community. Asher's been working very hard. He's a wonderful young guy. So come tomorrow, celebrate him, be with us since we see our young people take their mantle, take their place here on the Bima as they belong, as again, teachers of our community. So the service will begin at 10 o'clock. We will have Torah study tomorrow, but it will be downstairs for those that will be joining us here at the temple, and of course those on Zoom who are of course most welcome to join us. Also a reminder, we have a very busy weekend. Sunday, at 6 o'clock here at the temple, please join us for our wonderful visit. First time in our temple's history, as far as I know. The Israeli Scouts will be with us. This is a group of 17-year-olds, part of the Friendship Caravan, traveling along the entire East Coast, going to synagogues and community centers all along the East Coast of our beautiful country here, bringing Israel to us. This is an all-ages performance, so we welcome everybody to be here with us, followed by an Israeli dinner. Very important to RSVP, so we make sure we have enough food to feed everybody. We want to thank Diane Schiffman, who generously sponsored the Friendship Caravan, and to thank a number of people, I think a few in the room, who are hosting some of those scouts in your homes this Shabbat. So we're very excited about that. And I believe that the harbor cruise at this point is, right, signed up. Everybody who's signed up is signed up. So just a reminder again, this is one of the rare times at which exact start time is very important, and meeting is very important. And for anybody who's been in Sag Harbor this summer will know, finding parking, not the easiest thing to do in the world. So if you're coming on the cruise tomorrow night, please make sure you give yourself ample time to find a spot. We're going to meet at the windmill, and then we'll walk over together to the boat, and we're looking forward to that very much. And I'll walk you through all that stuff, so make sure we've got Will with us, which will be really great. Also want to remind everyone my History of Zionism class continues on Monday, and I'm sorry for those with the issue with the sign up this week. I have a recording of Monday's class for anybody who would like it. I'll send it to you. Anybody who wants to jump in and join us, it'll be every Monday at 10 o'clock, either here at the temple or on Zoom. Just make sure that you do sign up, and we make sure we get those links out. If you have any problems, please, of course, to let me know. Also want to remind everyone that Shelley will be teaching her beginning Hebrew reading class, 6 weeks to learn to read Hebrew, Thursdays at 12 o'clock. So please talk to Shelley if you're interested in joining up with that group. And then a reminder also that I believe Ruth's book group will be meeting on Sunday, and that is at 11 o'clock. And then to come a little bit early to make sure that you have time to get food and get everybody settled in. So again, please join for that as well. A lot of announcements. I'm sure I missed a few other things, a lot of things probably coming up. Wednesday, to join us at 7 o'clock to hear firsthand from a lone soldier, Ira Kohler, who was a native Long Island resident who joined the IDF and fought in Gaza, who will be joining us again on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And we thank Andy and Ron Klausder for generously sponsoring that event. And as I said, lots of things. And I guess the last thing to remind everybody is that it is still possible to add to the Tribute Journal through August 10th. So please just, if you like to do that, I know we have a few members of our committees that are in charge of that here tonight. If you have any questions, you can certainly find them. And again, lots of things. But yes, Shelley, what else did I forget?
I just want to mention that we're selling challah now at Shabbat by Day. We have 2 teenagers that are running a program class, and the proceeds of this, they're involved in helping us decide which hunger and food program that we'll go to. So we do have challah left outside. You're welcome to take it tonight. If you want to give us a donation at a later time, please go ahead and do that. But we don't want these to go to waste. So just so you know, every Friday, except this one, we will be at the beach, and we'll be there from 5 to 5:30.
Great. All right. Thank you, Shelley. All right, and of course, as soon as we're done with our service, please join us next door for our Oneg Shabbat, and we'll turn it over to Will for a closing song before we do Kiddush Shemot.
We're going to end on page 627 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise for Kiddush on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'horei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavahanu v'shabahat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. הבנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. L'chaim.
חיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Come give Will hugs. Please come next door. Unbelievable.